Everybody. Welcome to Maddox AI and Post Sale Summit. You are currently watching the Turn Customer Data into Weekly Briefings and Action Items session today. Um, One thing to call out, we will be turning off note takers and recorders. So if you see yours disappear, that's what's going on. But diving into our session, I'm super excited to welcome Chad Roche, Manager of Customer Success at Gigalamp. Hi, Chad. Oh, Chad, I think you
I just muted myself. Yes, yes. Hi, Bex.
You're good. So, as always, we start off with an icebreaker question. And the one for this summit is what's one AI use case you wish existed but haven't seen yet?
Yes, I would say my family schedule AI. I actually made an app to do a lot of family scheduling, but like the home schedule, the family schedule, the kids schedule, like creating a crazy AI database around. I mean, from home maintenance to everything in my family to personal finance, I think would be an amazing one.
I feel like that would sell like hotcakes for sure. Everyone could use that. Cool. Before I hand it over to Chad, just a reminder, if you have any questions throughout the session, feel free to drop it into the chat or the Q&A. We will be answering questions at the end, so it will definitely be caught. And with that, I'm going to pass it over to Chad.
Awesome, thank you, Bex. Share my screen here. And I'll go full screen, but we'll be jumping in and out here as well. So thanks everybody. I'm Chad Roche. I run customer success at Gaglamp. I build AI tools for CS and also for a lot of different other use cases as well. And the great thing about today is it's no theory. I'm going to show you something that's real, something that I actually use, and exactly how you can build it yourself. And one thing to be upfront, because I think it matters, is everything that I'll kind of show you today is synthetic data. It's fake accounts and fake data, because I don't want to be putting real customer data in a public session. So yeah, I just wanted to give that one caveat. But the pattern here that we'll go over today is one that everybody here has lived through. So I guess let me start with a story. So the account's made up, but again, you'll recognize it. So we're just gonna say an account name. I'll just call it Cedar Foods. I used to, actually use AI to come up with that. So on paper, think of Cedar Foods as your easiest renewal on the books. So their usage is steady, their health score is green. Your rep has flagged it as it's a sure thing. Your dashboard says, don't worry about it. Like we're good, everything's green. But they're 6 weeks from churning. And that's where, it's that nobody missed anything exactly. The rep noticed something small, and then so did your support team, and so did, I mean, the customer actually mentioning something specifically on a call with a rep. But all of these pieces live in different tools, and no one single person has ever seen them in the same place at the same time. So the gap is that there's signal there that's already there, but it's scattered across your tools, and no humans are assembling. Everything in those different systems, and that's actually what AI is generally pretty good at. And it's not, I guess, summarizing a dashboard you already have, but it's connecting things that you can't. And I do want to highlight, like, the data is fake, but the pattern here is real, and you can build this with your tools you already have. And let me show you how you can kind of catch your own, Cedar Foods here. So in this, go to my next slide here. All right. Here, let me get out of full screen here. There we go. And I go to my present mode. Okay, so here's why dashboards are quiet. So a health score rolls up usage and tickets into a number, but the churn signal actually isn't a number. It's in language and the context, and it's scattered across different places. It's a note in your team Slack channel. It's a couple low priority support tickets. It's on a call transcript from a customer, and each alone is kind of a bump. It's noise, but and nobody's escalating a low level ticket, and nobody's like in from a CS update, like, there's nothing to really escalate, and nobody's wrong not to. But Here's the shape of it when you're looking at it. So looking at one account in three different sources. So you have your Slack, your support, call, and all of them pointing at a single account. This is a $94,000 account that, everyone's marked as it is a sure thing. But you look at the verdict and, each signal is noise, but together the champion's shopping around for somebody else. And in this, like the failure is not attention, and it's that you're not having a system read across your Slack, your support, your calls, your usage data, your CRM all at once, and asking this is like, do all these signals add up? And that's the job for AI today, and that's what we're going to be handling here today. So let's dig in and get into it live. All right, so everybody here, you're familiar with Claude, Claude Chat. This is we'll start here, but you think of it, you can go into ChatGPT and do this as well. So I actually pulled up my data. So I have my data from call transcripts, Slack, and support tickets. I exported it so I can have it here. And in here, with this, look at what I'm going to ask for and also what I'm not asking for. And here, I actually love to just dictate instead of typing because I think it'll be much quicker to go through. So let's say you have three sources from this week, our internal CS team Slack, our support ticket log, and our call transcripts. Do not summarize them. Do something a busy human can't. Find something in an account where a single issue shows up across more than one source. So weak signals that look minor on their own, but together pose a real risk. I guess for each of them, name the account, quote, I guess, signal from the source, explain why the combination matters, and tell me what I'd miss if I was only looking at a single source. And then, I guess we could go rank them by how likely I am to lose the account to. All right, we got my text there. I'm going to let that go. Again, you're very familiar with Claude interface. And so that is just literally an export of our data here and then add in a prompt to it. So in here, had that account, everybody marked as safe. So let's see if it finds what we missed. Oh, look at that. So with this, there it is. So Cedar Foods in Slack, the rep wrote, keeps coming up, but also said it was an easy renewal. In support, a couple low priority tickets, same thing, exporting data. They had a reporting export that was an issue. And on a call, the customer said, there's one thing that makes me wonder if there's a better tool that does this more cleanly. And then, so all separately, they're just noise, but together, that's the customer shopping for a replacement and a nearly $100,000 renewal that's written as safe 6 weeks out from renewal. And the thing that I want you to sit with on this is nobody failed in this scenario. The rep flagged it. They did their job in saying like, hey, they're having a reporting issue. Support logged it. It's on the record. It's in their CR. It's on the CRM. It's known that they've been experiencing a reporting issue. And then the customer said it out loud. Like they're trying to say like, hey, this is a need I have. It was missed. Um, and the failure in here is that these three pieces lived in different tools that no one connected. And it's not a people problem that you fix with more headcount. It's a context problem you fix by letting AI read across these different places where the signal lives. So the signal's there, you just couldn't see it. All right. So how you can catch this, uh, you know, let me get in back over the slides here. And let me just make sure I'm on my slides. Okay. So catching one of these is a trick. Doing it by hand and kind of showing you a data export, it is a trick. But catching it every day, so like catching it every Monday across your whole book of business without it being an embarrassing mess and wreaking havoc on different processes, it's a real thing, and that's what I want to cover here and some ideas to make this work for you. The first part that cost me a lot of headache sometimes, and this is, I mean, for being in AI for quite a while now, is the naive version here is point the AI at all my data and ask it to find problems because that is the one where you'll get hallucinations. You will hit your rate limits, you will drop records, and you'll get 10 tabs of nothingness. You have to still sort through, and then you still don't even know if it's right. Um, so the version that works here is a funnel. So working to narrow with code, um, reasoning with models, ranking, like really ranking down of what's most important, and then keeping a human in the loop. So these existing systems, so like a saved report or a query, so hopefully narrowing down your book of business to the accounts that matter. And then using the model of reasons over like the handful of data sources, and then ranking your shortlist because if you flag everything, so this sometimes that will happen. If you flag everything, if everything's flagged, nothing's a signal. It's still all noise. So that's where you need to decide what's most important to you. And when think of it when you have a book that goes from 200 accounts to 2,000 accounts, the top filter changes, but like AI's job stays the same in the same route here. And then the second, I guess, what makes it, I guess, enough to switch here. We'll pull up a my Claude MD file. So like I have my operations agent here. So this is what makes it safe enough to actually trust with customers in your team. And you keep your four things separate instead of cramming them into a giant prompt. And this is going to save you a lot of time. And I think showing you these files is going to help it click a little bit for you. So you have your Claude MD file. So this is the CS operations agent. This is your boundary. This is telling your agent what it can touch and what it's not allowed to do. Looking at the list, like, never send a customer email, never update a record, never access data you don't need. You have read only, you have humans in the loop. And then the great thing about this MD file here of the CS operations agent is I can hand this to my data, my security team and say, these are the guardrails I have. This is like the fence. So, they can kind of look at it, tighten it as they need to. And this prevents my agent from going and kind of quietly having access to things it shouldn't. So then it might get into different areas that you don't want it to be. And then also it prevents a humongous prompt if someone changes a line in a prompt and then nobody catches it. It ends up that it prevents that failure too. Next piece here is the skill file. I have a skill file. So think of it as this is the judgment for your agent. This is what it does. So what I guess and this is where like your team edits this. This is where like you own this, not engineering. So this is where you can say like what counts as risk, what counts as expansion, how to spot cross-channel issues, what a briefing should look like. And then this prevents having a copy and pasted skill in many different places that are drifting out of sync and nobody's sure kind of what the final version is. So like this is like have one version, have your team be able to do it. The next piece here to it is your briefing harness. So this is a Python script. Um, this is your orchestration for it, and I have it small here, but I'm sharing out all these files as well with you so you can go through them. But with this is the boring stuff. This is the boring stuff that runs it. How this agent wakes up at Monday at 6 a.m., what data, like what order of data gets pulled, what part to, I guess what part in here that people tend to skip is this log function. So in here you have your log. So in that, like every stage writes a line. And with logging it, this is where like where your agent ever fails, or if your report silently stops working week to week because one of your data sources is wrong. You don't want to go on and making judgments on accounts if like one of your data sources is failing, and that log function will actually tell you there where to look, and where it like breaks down before it becomes an issue. And then the last piece in thinking about it, it isn't a file to add in, but it is just a judgment piece on your side. So it is a rule, I guess. It is the AI drafts, human reviews. That's always so. And with that, like it prevents a customer getting a incredibly wrong email at 6 a.m. or different things. So that's how it is. So like I guess three files. So your Claude MD, your skill file, your harness Python there of like what it does, how it does, and then you can change any one like you can change any one piece there without affecting the others. So that's the difference between like a cool demo and then something that actually you'd work with your team and what works. And then I'll show you how this all kind of pulls together and what you can do. So in here, you've probably seen a lot of dashboards here today. But with this is where, where does this land on a Monday briefing? So this report is actually the easiest part of all of this. This is one where it is you're looking at a command center triage and, you look at it top to bottom, you have Cedar Foods here is Signal is right there. It's surfaced on its own. The agent connected it. It gives you nice HTML download that you can go in and take off. And then one cool thing here that I throw into like you have your risk renewals expansion, program health, coaching. Coaching is huge. I know there's all other sessions here today on coaching, but it it reads calls for coaching patterns, and notice it's by book of business and not by name. And so think of it as a tool to help your team and not to grade them. So build it in a way that your reps trust it. And then everything says a draft for review. So it's important because agent drafts, human reviews. That's a big piece there. All right, so let's get into one little piece. We'll actually open up Claude code here. So we're going to open up Claude. We'll say, yeah. All right. And then what we're going to do, I actually already created an MCP server of this customer data. So let's connect it. And I want to show you something here. So MCP, I know we're, buzzword, it's a MCP, Model Context Protocol. Simplest way to think about MCP is it's a USB port for AI to get into anything you need to. So before, if you wanted AI to read your CRM, your BI tool, your support, someone have to build a custom integration. It just kind of didn't scale. MCP is universal, and I know a lot of you are familiar with it. If not, you can ask AI and chat more about it. But with this, I build a small server that's pointed at that synthetic data. So, but think of it as this wiring could be the same thing as your real system. So that could be your CRM. So like this is your HubSpot, your Gong, your support, all of that. So think of it as getting in there. So awesome. So in here, we're connected to all of that data now. And for this, we're going to say, using my customer intel tools, pull this week's at-risk accounts and tell me where I should spend my Monday on, rank it by ARR, and just give me an action each. All right. So watch the screen for a sec here. I'm not pasting anything this time. I'm not dragging in exported data. All right, it just gave me three accounts of flagged. I know this is small. If I can, uh, there we go. Let's make it a little bit bigger for you. All right, there it is. So like you got your accounts flagged, and now it's saying, oh, maybe I should, you know, one flag. These tools are pulling live customer data. All right. One thing I actually want to do, the same thing we did before, is now cross-reference with the call transcripts, the tickets, and with Slack, and does anything change our risk profile and include any account that isn't on the list that should be? All right. So while this works, this is the part that I couldn't do as a human. So I've got structured data on one side. So you got, usage, renewal dates, ARR, the messy stuff. The structured data tells me kind of who's up for renewal. The messy data tells me who's more actually at risk. All right, there's there we go. Cedar Foods again, and that's the catch again. So, but this time the AI actually found it by reaching across those different sources itself. And the structured data said, "Hey, Cedar was quiet," and flagged it as what I should be looking through as a newly at risk and what I should be looking at. Um, One thing, I guess, because it matters, is this is a real MCP connection. The data behind it is synthetic, because I'm not going to put like real customer data into a public session. But again, like I guess neither should you. Um, the pattern is exactly what you'd run into against your real system, and the judgment of what to connect and how to scope it safely is as much a skill as the connection itself. And get back over to my slides here. Um, and with this, I guess let me tell you where systems break, because anyone who's built any of this knows that it does. And if people are selling you and saying, hey, it doesn't break, they wouldn't say that, but like it does break it. And it's only as good as the data your team is filling in. And that's the thing of like you're a deal without a contact on it looks the same as a deal being ignored. A call nobody logged, it's not getting read. So until you back test your system and then figure out like if these flags are actually relevant, that's where like you have to kind of go through and validate and back test those. But that's the one where like thinking about it in this sense of like use your approved systems, go in and figure out what you want to do, what data you want to access, and then figure out kind of where it breaks to, because this is one like you'll earn respect because you're going to be going in and figuring that out and getting in with your questions. So I actually have these three questions for you of like, how do you want to get started? How you want to get moving on these? So you don't need to go and build at this, but like you need to think about it from like, go to your Rev Ops, go to your CS Ops, and think about the questions you want to ask. It's like, can you give me a weekly export of accounts with no sensitive fields? And then to your IT team, like, what are our AI tools that are approved? Is it Codex? Is it OpenAI? Is it Chat? Is it Claude? Is it something else? Is it Google? So figure out what tools are approved, and then what you want your data to decide, and who needs to be reviewing it in that loop. And the great thing, I actually put together resources for everybody here. So I will share this link here as well. But in your resources as well, I have a briefing planner. So you can go through and say, these are the things I want to figure out, things I'd love to start at. And then I can export my plan, and then you have it right there for yourself. Um, and then, yeah, so I guess the goals with this, it's never to just, AI runs CS. It's the AI reads things across all your sources that you don't have time to read. It connects it, it hands you a ranked short list, and it gives you time to spend and use your judgment where it actually matters. Because I guess the signal's always been there, and now you can see it. So thanks, and now I'll take some questions.
Yeah, so we have a question around, do you use this instead of CS software dashboards, for example, Gainsign?
Yeah, so we use our HubSpot CS Hub, and then we use this as in addition to it.
Got it. And just a reminder, if you do have a question, feel free to drop it in chat or in the Q&A. Another question is, how do you think about QAing in general? Because AI does hallucinate, so how do you keep an eye out for it?
That's part of the one where you're always having that human loop to review. The having things go autonomous, it's like always keeping your human in the loop and always like being that human that knows that things are that needs to be reviewed and briefed. So like if you're looking at in your weekly briefing, it is a draft for review. It isn't the end all be all, send this to a customer. It gives you a direction to go in. And then it's always like making sure they're validated as well. And then also part of that too, like when I went through where the harness and the Python script here in logging, that's another piece that is incredibly helpful because with that, that tells you if any part is failing, and then you're getting a report that only is pulling two data sources instead of six.
Awesome. So I think that was it for all the questions so far. We'll give people maybe a couple seconds if anyone wants to drop it in. Otherwise, just a reminder for everyone, the recording of this session will be available tomorrow in our resource hub. All summit attendees will be notified when the resource hub is live. So if you're like, hey, I want to have this going as I do it side by side with Chad, you will be able to do that. We also encourage everyone to connect with Chad. He is on the forefront of many things AI. So make sure to follow him on LinkedIn. Otherwise, I don't think there's any other questions. So thank you so much, Chad, for joining us today for this wonderful session. And thank you to everyone else for attending. Bye, y'all.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.